Africa Global Radio. Our story, our growth, our future.
Headlines across Africa.
Welcome to Africa Global Radio. I'm Itumeleng Lebogang, bringing you headlines across Africa for Tuesday, 5th of March. In today's bulletin, Accra is ready to host the 13th edition of the African Games. Zimbabwe's 11 top officials are facing new sanctions from the United States of America. And the International Aviation Safety Review commends safety practices of African airlines for the 4th year in a row. Reports of disharmony existing between the three organizing bodies will not stand in the way of Ghana's opening ceremony this Friday, 8th March at the University of Ghana. Ghanaian officials, vendors, and tens of thousands of residents are prepared and ready to stage the 13th edition of the multi-sport African Games. Since the Games' first edition in 1965, this is the second time the Games are hosted in West Africa. Spokesperson for the African Games Local Organizing Committee, Dan Kwaku-Yeboah, says the country is ready on every front: infrastructure, accommodation, transport, and media. With 8 of the 29 sports codes being qualifiers for the Paris Olympics, the hosts look forward to being the testing ground for the teams and athletes who will compete in athletics, badminton, tennis, cycling, swimming, table tennis, triathlon, and wrestling as a key step on their journey to the 2024 Olympic Games. Although most countries are still affected by the impact of the COVID pandemic, causing many to report low levels of preparations, more than 5,000 athletes and officials from the continent are expected for the 2-week sporting event, which will come to a close in a ceremony on Saturday, 23rd of March. The United States Department of the Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control accuses 11 senior political and government officials and 3 entities in Zimbabwe of being involved in corruption or serious human rights abuse. These include Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa, the First Lady Auxilia Mnangagwa, the Vice President Constantino Chiwenga, and 8 other senior officials. In the statements published yesterday, the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said Mnangagwa is accused of protecting gold and diamond smugglers who operate in Zimbabwe, directing government officials to facilitate the sale of gold and diamonds in illicit markets, and taking bribes in exchange for his services, among other offenses. The new United States sanctions policy towards Zimbabwe comes the same day as the termination of the Zimbabwe sanctions program that had been in effect since 2003. The 11 officials being targeted by America will be subjected to the global Magnitsky sanctions program. The designations are part of a stronger, more targeted sanctions policy towards Zimbabwe, which will block all property and interests in property of the Zimbabwean officials in the United States or in the possession or control of U.S. persons. The International Air Transport Association Safety Review reported that African airlines have had no passenger jet aircraft losses or fatal accidents since 2020. The continent's safety performance reflects broader global aviation trends, with IATA saying that aviation continues to make progress on safety, with several 2023 parameters showing best ever results. Unlike other regions around the world, African airlines marked their 5th instance of reporting 0 fatal accidents involving turboprop aircraft since 2015. The continued safety comes despite a 17% increase in aircraft movements last year, bringing it up to 37 million aircraft movements recorded in 2023. The association added that the 2023 safety performance continues to demonstrate that flying is the safest mode of transport in Africa. And with that, we've come to the end of Headlines Across Africa with me, Itumeleng Lebogang. Join us again tomorrow for our midweek bulletin right here on Africa Global Radio.
For this and more, check us out on africaglobalradio.com. On Facebook and YouTube, Africa Global Radio. On Twitter and Instagram, AF Global Radio.